What's happening? This is Avidan, and welcome to the fourth episode, the final episode of the Study Beat tutorial series. Thank you so much for joining me. If you all have not already, make sure you go ahead and check out the beginning of the series because this is a really good tutorial for those of you who are interested in making your own beats. Probably about an hour, a little bit less than an hour for a tutorial, considering this one. In part one, we went over how to make your first set of drums. Part two, we went over how to make your first chord progression, how to make your first bass line. And part three, we went over how to make your first melody, your follow-up melody, how to organize this into a song, and even how to layer your drums. And in this one, we're going to learn how to mix it all down to make it sound really good. So if you're ready for that, let's jump right into it. All right, so now that we're in here, I want you all to just take a deep breath because the mixing portion of this is probably going to be the most technical. Could be creative, but it's the more technical based. And with that, I'm not going to try to intimidate you. I'm not going to overload you too much with mixing, but we are rather going to go ahead and have some fun with this. So what you're going to go ahead and first is double left click on Stage Grand. We're just going to focus on these top knobs right here. We're not going to worry about the envelopes, the reverb, the limiter. We're just going to probably just turn this just slightly. And the filter, we're going to do all that separately. So we're not going to worry about any of this right now. What we're going to go ahead and do is raise the space to about 25%. And we'll raise the chorus to about 25%. Actually, let's raise space to about 35. And we'll raise the echo to about 20%. And let's just see how that sounds. Already it sounds better. So we're going to do something fun. We're actually going to go up to melody 1, not melody 2. Click the step sequencer. I want you to right click Stage Grand and hit clone. And once you do that, you're going to go back to your channel rack and you're going to hit copy. And then you're going to move this up until you get to pattern 8 and then hit Stage Grand 2 right here and hit paste. And let's move this up into sequence 10. In fact, yeah, sequence 10 is good enough. All right, in fact, that's in sequence 10. I want you all to hit this button. This is your mixer track. This is where a lot of the fun is really going to happen. And I want you to go ahead and just hit the down arrow. And I'm going to have more of these than you all, so please don't feel discouraged if you see more on my screen than yours. But everything that I choose from this window, you will be able to use this yourself. So we're going to go ahead and go to Fruity Filter. We're going to hit party. We're going to hit right click the arrow. I was going to say party next door, but we're going to use retro sound instead. All right. So after we put the filter on, we're going to go ahead and get out of this. And we're going to hit pattern 8 and click right here below the vinyl popping. And we're just going to hit left click, pull this back if we had that same problem because it's only a 4 bar. Get rid of melody 1 right here. And yeah, we can leave it right here. And just going to right click and call this rename color icon. We're going to call this intro melody. Hit the little gray arrow right here. We'll choose, it's called chocolate. So we'll call it chocolate. And then we're going to go ahead and left click here, rename color. Let's call it intro melody. We'll do the same thing. Okay. All right. Hit the button right there in the middle. Now let's hear how it sounds. Sounds a little too rough. So I'm going to put the Fruity Filter. I'm going to pull this left knob. I'm going to pull it a little bit more towards the left. And we can pull the volume down just a little bit because it's a little loud. Let's pull it down to 72. already that sounds really good. So the vinyl popping, to make this sound really fun, we're gonna hit the slot one below, and we're gonna choose the parametric equalizer 2. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna bring down the low pass on these two. And bring down the 7 kind of like this. So this way is just not overpowering. This way is not overpowering, but you can still hear the effect on that. So now we pretty much got the vinyl popping going good. Now, if you really want to get creative, you can go ahead and throw reverb 2 on there. And you're gonna left click, pull this back to about 30%. Just to give it just a little bit slightly more presence, and then we're pretty much done with that. So let's go to the acoustic nylon. And with that, we're gonna put this on fast distortion. And fruity fast this fast distortion. And you see like the line that's over here that's curved. Our goal is to make this line come up to about right here. So with that, you just play around with the threshold and your mix a little bit, and just turn your pre-prior up to about right here, and then that should be good. We also want to add a small delay, so we'll put delay 2. And we're gonna go ahead and pull this down all the way to about 10%. And then let's hear how it sounds. A little bit too much. It's getting there. Let's put it down to about 5. Let's put it 7%. All right, and we're getting closer and closer. Now we're on the stage grand. And with this, we're gonna use parametric equalizer 2, and we're just gonna pull this up just towards the middle. And this bottom circle right here, just pull to the left and pull to the side, just kind of give it a little bit more presence. Yeah. And we're having fun. Go to 6. And the reason why we're doing this is because when it comes to effects, your effects are to bring out the life of the instrument. So you don't want to drown any of your instruments with effects. You want your instruments just to have, just some life in them when it sounds, really good to listen to. So we're going to go ahead and go to electric, and we're going to put this on fruity bass boost. I rarely use this sometimes. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna use this one first. Let's delete. Let's go to equalize. I want to show you how to equalize bass lines. You see, okay, so let me let it play. Let's single this out. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna go ahead and right click this green arrow just so we could hear just the bass line. I'm gonna go back up here and double click this, hit space bar to play. You see how all the sounds are right here? It's because bass lines are more favored on the low end of an equalizer spectrum. So we're gonna favor more of these just to kind of like boost the sound a little bit, and it kind of boosts up a little bit even more. We're gonna pull down the high end sounds just a little bit, just to give it a little bit more of a boost. So let's hear it now. Sounds like it has way more presence now. That's why I didn't want to do bass boost, because I found this is more effective. All we do is right click this, and now let's hear it. The piano sounds a little bit loud, so we can pull this down to about 85%. So now we're getting closer and closer. Like our saw is building up a little bit more, and we're gonna go ahead and skip to the main verse. So you see how this sounds? So what we can do here is the drums right here. I want you to left click this and make this unique. And the reason why we're doing this because we want our intro to kind of like have I'll say we wanted to have kind of like a lead-in feel, so it's like people know that we're indicating into a new song. So I double-clicked that by accident. I want you to click the step sequencer and take out the kick, take out the snare right here, and even double this up and leave it like this. So let's play it now. And for this to lead into the next melodies, what we can do is right click this, make unique, hit the step sequencer, take away the kicks, take away all of this, and do something more like this where it kind of leads in and then it stops and it just pauses for a sec. So let's do this. So drum variations and mixing kind of go hand in hand because it makes us a little bit more aware of our sounds. Now I want us to go back to the mixer settings and I want us to go over to our Rhodes MK Lite, which we don't have to do much with that. I just want us to add a regular reverb 2 towards this and pull this down to about halfway. Actually, you're gonna hit this down arrow and I want you to hit move down because we actually want to put not parametric equalizer, but we're gonna put a multi-blaring compressor on there. And what we can do is kind of like just turn the mid bands down and the high bands down a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just focus more on the lower end sound of the Rhodes chords. And cool. So now is just mixing down the drums, which is not hard at all. We can start from 1 with our kick. We're going to turn this to the parametric equalizer 2. And this is normally what I do for this. I just pull this up a few like that. And I will go ahead and go to Fruity slot 2. And we're going to choose this. I'll choose bass boost for. Only because I want like kind of like a frequency with the kick and turn down the amount. All right, for this, for our snare, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing, but we're gonna pull this up on both sides because we want kind of like a bassy type of snare. So. So we're getting closer with that. We're going to add a reverb to the snare. And For the hi-hats, we'll kind of do the same thing with this, like we did with the stand grades, just parametric equalizer going all around. And just put a reverb about 75 for the snap and the tambourine hit. Put a slight delay on there. Put a stage grand about 70, and what we're doing now is just volume control so it doesn't sound cluttered. Now usually some people like adding some vocal clips to go along with their lo-fi study beat. Me personally, that could take away from it for me, especially in the intro, because it can make you think about, you know, where a clip is from. That could be distraction in itself. And also just to avoid any copyright claims, I'm not gonna go ahead and put that for this video. So hopefully this is helpful for you all. If you have any questions at all for this tutorial, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll be happy to go over anything that we have touched on in these past 4 videos. And like always, you make sure you share this with a friend. This is Avidan, and I'm out.